Hey there, aspiring guitarists. Today I want to talk about smart guitars. And I also want to set up for an upcoming live I want to do because I want to get your feedback about smart guitars. Um, you know, my I've got a lot of backgrounds if y'all follow my channel, but computers, I was into computers all the way back as a football player and geek in high school that got fascinated at Shakey's Pizza Parlor when I was in high school playing Pong. And I remember thinking, how do they do that? And that spawned my interest in computers all the way back to being in computer user groups, having a Trash 80, a TRS 80, um, to working for the largest computer publisher in the world and being the chief system operator for the largest online computer forums in the world before the World Wide Web in the late 80s and early 90s. So smart guitars naturally appealed to me. Now, I remember, when I was on the Windows beta team, us discussing MIDI. But most of us, musical interface digital, musical instrument digital interface. If I got that right, that was from memory only. Many of us back in the day when MIDI first came out, it was organy and twangy and synthesizer. That's what you thought of with MIDI. It brought up thoughts of me and my wife going to the Yes concert in 1977 and Rick Wakeman with his giant keyboard and Moog synthesizers. That was, that was a revolution back then. Moog was, that was a key word that got us all. So, we started getting into some electronical music and mixing it with rock bands and things. And a lot of it took its inspiration from the mighty sound of the wonderful organ. So, smart guitars have always appealed to me, and I have several. This is a next gen. You can see the panel that allows you to do things. Um, I have, this is an Enya, that has some, very basic features. This one, almost all of them, you have to tie back to an app to get beyond. For instance, a lot of what this is nothing more than a volume. And when I turn it on, you're going to get different effects, presets as they call it. I can click the, let me just turn it on. So if you hold it, you can see it lit up. So, that's, it's already got a effect in there. But if I tap it again, it'll change colors. You get a different effect. If I tap it again, and I'm going across the strings, holding it up, so pardon the sound. You hear that delay. But smart guitars, they're not just about getting effects or turning guitars into a little mini amplifier system, although a lot of them, this guitar here and that one and all of them I have, allow you to Bluetooth music into the guitar for backing tracks. This is a Lavame I have, and of course, you know me. I've turned it into a teaching guitar, and and I have fun with it. Um, the display, that's the sound hole. The volumes are up in here. Um, there's the display there. It also has an app. This guitar plays real well. it's got great action, right? It does have a truss rod. That used to be a problem with a lot of early smart guitars. Now it also has looping capability. I could have started a loop on here and played what I just played, or I could do some rhythm. And on and on and on. And then I could have gone into the app or the setting here and told it how many measures I wanted the loop to be. Um, did I want to count in? There's all kind of things you can do. But what I also want to talk about is the problems that I see with smart guitars, because I bought a lot of them in search of the Holy Grail. My youngest son is a sax player, and he composes music in everything using from Sonus to GarageBand. So I bought a Jamstick MIDI guitar too, which that's a whole nother, that's getting into MIDI, and that's, I bought a Sonus annual subscription, and that gets into music notation. We had all kind of things that my son Sean and I want to do, and my son Justin does too. My oldest son, he's just trying to get back to learning guitar. He's a high school football coach, and I mean he of 20 plus years, and he's pretty wrapped up, and he also teaches English, so his time is limited, but he's a big old guy, and he's got a big old 12 string that, suits him, and he's learning and helping his daughters that are my granddaughters that I'm teaching. So, we try to make this a family event. But here's the problem that I see with most of these guitars. Number one, they'll sit there and they'll mark it that it'll show the tabs and chords and this, that, and other. Well, part of the problem there is looking at the screen while you're trying to play. So what's the remedy to that? Well, the remedy to that, to most of them, is to use the app on your phone and then look at it on the phone. But some of these companies put a tremendous amount of engineering and design into what are wonderful instruments. They really are. This is, I think it's a 38-inch model, and my son Justin has the 41-inch spruce top model, and it allows us to interact with each other over the internet. Like, I can play a riff and send it to him, or we can interact. But let me tell you what the problem with that was. Figuring out how to do all the things. I mean, they have jammed these things packed full of things you can do. Now, I'm pretty computer literate, but I gotta tell you, it about drove me crazy. And my son. And from being in the user groups, I'm not the only one. And they may get all defensive if they watch this, but I have said repeatedly to them, a lot of these smart guitar manufacturers are overseas from the United States. Some are in Hong Kong, some are in other places, and that's great. We need worldwide guitar journeys and inspiration. And the people that built these and engineered these are absolutely brilliant. Um, they have a brilliant machine. But where I think they fall short is in educating their users. And that's a personal opinion. I'm sure they'll take offense to that if they maybe they will, maybe they won't. I remember, let's go back to computers for a minute. Um, One of the reasons I used to recommend, and boy, this was the early 90s, especially the law firms that, I was a consultant for in computers, for their letter writing software, for lack of a better word, was WordPerfect. And then later, Microsoft Word took over. It got a little competition from Lotus with Ami Pro. There was Stars. I don't even remember all the names, but there was a bunch of them. Why was WordPerfect so successful? Their support. Now, WordPerfect costs more than most all the other ones, but their support was phenomenal. They would walk a user through creating a macro where if they had to do something for an attorney all the time, they could hit a function key button and it would throw in the text they needed. They could walk them through creating macros that would format something. You know how you look at a legal document, it's got to be, this has to be there. And I don't even know. I used to help a lot of lawyer firms in Birmingham to use their software, but I didn't know all that legalese. Now, my older sister was a paralegal. Sometimes she would help me, to get to that. But what's my point with the guitar? Well, I mean, and their USB-C connections and this, that, and other. My point with the guitar is I have sent off emails extremely frustrated. Justin and I just trying to make each other friends in their little online software community for one of the manufacturers. We about drove ourselves crazy. I shot off an email. Well, number one, they weren't using the icons for things that we were used to seeing in the United States. Now that's fine. I don't. I'm not trying to act like the whole world should conform to U.S. standards, but by any means. Um, English is a very, very spoken dominant language, and there's a reason that many countries across the world try to use English. But with that said, and not to start that debate, I'm not going to entertain that in the comments, and I'm not going to let that kind of crap see the light of day. That's not what we're talking about. What I'm merely talking about is they're trying to reach an international audience with their sales. Many of these smart guitars are on Amazon. You won't see them yet on the big online dealers like Sweetwater or Musician's Friend, although you might see a few pop through, but Amazon is a haven for smart guitars. I've never had a problem with delivery of one. I even sent one back. You know how Amazon is with their policy. But let me nail this that I see as a problem. So I shot off an email to one of these manufacturers. Now you're typically going to wait 24 to 48 hours. They're overseas. Now you know what? I understand that. The guitars for what you're getting to me are well priced. No, they're not under $100. You're looking at smart guitars that are going to range somewhere between the $200 to $800 price range and more, depending on what you get. But I always get an email back. They're always very professional, and they always answer my question. And then I would ask them, you really need to make an FAQ, a frequently asked question, to where users learn how to know how to use this guitar and this technology, and they can share it with others. Now, I never got back. Well, you ought to go to one of the many communities out there on social media because I'm in a lot of those communities. Some of the people are great, but it's a hodgepodge. It's all over the place. Depends on who created the group. Um, that some of their own marketing irritates me. Their ads. Many of these companies will show some guitarists that I don't know if they've hired them or what, but they're really, really good. They're great. And they're playing riffs, and then it shows them collaborating with somebody else in another city, and they're back and they're forth, and you can tell whoever did the production, man, this could have been made for Hollywood. It was beautiful. But then they'll show the guitarist pushing on the screen, and all of a sudden an effect comes, but they won't take the time to show you what they pushed. The emails that I get when I recommend to them, you need to do something about the FAQ. And it's like I told one of them. I said, I'm old. I wear glasses. I've had 2 cataract surgeries. I can't read this tiny little screen. Why didn't you make the app software to where it would accommodate an iPad? Because you know how some apps, they're shrunk on an iPad because they haven't been, adjusted to be iPad or tablet ready. I just threw out a myriad. Let me try to nail this. I know I'm all over the place, but this really is the problem I see with smart guitars. I'll get a reply back. Yes, we are working on a better FAQ. Now, I've gotten that from multiple manufacturers. There's something about these companies that the right hand doesn't know what the left hand's doing, in my view, and here's why I feel that way. In the length of time that you took to answer my question with the detail, the very good detail you provided in that email to me, could have been as much as 2 or 3 paragraphs. Sometimes it was accompanied with images that showed me how to do something. You could have put that on an FAQ. Somebody ain't talking. Somebody is not. You put so much money into all these things. These guitars, this guitar right here has a built-in speaker that you could practically be a one-man band. It is phenomenal. It truly is phenomenal what these guitars can do. Help people learn how to use them. I'm not going to start making YouTube videos on all things, although a lot of the unboxings of these guitars, you'll see even some of our guitar-worthy sites have done unboxings, and they'll do a little bit to show you what it can do. But that learning curve is so steep for so many people because there really aren't any standards. It's almost like the way guitar manufacturers call their body shapes. A concert by this size guitar by one manufacturer may not be the same concert size as another. And that's okay. It's okay to have differences. But my point is, back to the early 90s and WordPerfect. Now, WordPerfect's gone. We moved into a time where people could get information free on the internet, talking with one another, and I guess that I don't know why WordPerfect fell off. I know Microsoft Word came in there hard and strong, and it's a fantastic program too. I taught Word in my classes. I still use Word to this day. I use Pages too in Mac. But my point is, I don't see these manufacturers doing the very simple, an FAQ. If I'm going to sit there and type out on a one-to-one personal, then why can't I go back at a team meeting for people that obviously, I don't know, that they may be about to be bankrupt. I have no idea how solvent they are, but I do know they poured a lot of money into the technology of these guitars because they're phenomenal. I love them all. I just hate the learning curve. Well, David, why don't you do that? No, I got other things to do. I got granddaughters, a wife, this channel, church, working outside. We all have things to do. I didn't create this. Um, there's lots and lots and lots and lots of guitars and lots and lots and lots and lots of instructors. There are not lots and lots and lots and lots of smart guitar manufacturers. Now, that's my view. So, the problem, I'm not telling you not to buy a smart guitar. Now, what I've done when my son Justin and we would corroborate with FaceTime or whatever. Okay, let's try this. All right, let's try. And we would eventually figure it out. But it takes away from feeling good about the guitar. It takes away from being able to move forward in your guitar journey. If I'm in the middle of trying to improvise something and I'm running a drum track in the background, I got mixed emotions about that too. But if I don't have somebody to play with, I like having a backing track. But I'd much rather have people to play with. But here's my point. I got to stop what I'm doing. I've got to stop the inspiration I have. I've got to stop the arpeggio. I've got to stop the lead that I want to do. I've got to stop acting my son. Hey, I'm going to play this rhythm. What's your response to that? You know, how do we resolve this chord, this harmony, blah, 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 blah. And I got to fire off an email because there is no FAQ. Define, I know how to search the internet. 2 days later, I'll get back a response. The cat's sick, the whatever happened, and I'm whatever inspiration I had is gone. Yeah, that's on me to get it back. And I realize some people could say, well, you know, you learn better if you find something out by yourself. Now, that's true in many things. I remember when I first got into computers, I had to learn a lot of things by trial and error because there just wasn't a lot. There were user groups. I was a member of them. But there were so many things that we just had to get in there, and we had to get in there and just try and screw up and reset and reboot. Yeah, if I wanted to become an expert on smart guitars, I could do that, but I don't. I want to use the smart guitar for the things that can help me to practice. So that's my gripe with smart guitars. Am I telling you not to buy one? Absolutely not. We're going to have a live that I'm going to announce. I don't know when we'll do it, but I'm trying to have lives that follow a theme. And we're going to talk about smart guitars because I want to get some feedback and I want to get our subscribers talking to one another, especially if you have a smart guitar. What do you want? What bothers you? Everything from, are the components going to last? You know, there's a few of these smart guitars that I thought, well, if the company goes out of business, it's still a good guitar. You know, it still plays well. This one right here that does all kind of stuff that I've decorated, it's still a great sounding guitar. If nothing electronic works at all, I've still got a working guitar. So that gets into other things. So smart guitars they didn't just happen yesterday. They've been around for a little while, but now they're starting to gain a little momentum with their sales on Amazon. So this is something that I really, gosh, manufacturers, I've already said how great your engineering and what you did is. Please don't get all negative. How dare he? You can if you want to. Like I said, what other people think of me is none of my business, and I can't control what you do. But I'm pleading with you. teach people how to use these things. Give examples. Do videos. We just can't afford to do that. Well, you're pouring a lot of money into marketing, a ton of it. I'm just asking you to consider. So this is our little talk about smart guitars. We may do some more. And as always, I hope your guitar journey is blessed. And most of all, happy picking.